Welcome back, guys. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than my normal videos. Today, I'm actually going to share with you guys my clinic presentation from last April at the Kansas 8-Man Coaches Clinic in Salina. And it was my first and only clinic talk so far, but in it, I take you through a summarized overview of my personal offensive philosophy and approach to the passing game. Big thanks to Coach R. Mendy for recording all those presentations. And if you do like 8-Man football, be sure to check out his channel on YouTube, 8-Man of War. He's got a lot of 8-Man football content from old school football and present day football, many years of high school football in Kansas. But as always, you guys, thanks for always tuning into these videos. And here it is. Here's my clinic presentation from last April.
I told you guys I knew a little bit about all of our speakers today, so that was kind of fun for me, maybe not for them. Mitch here, I coached him till his junior year of high school. I mean, I had him in PE when he was that big, when we were at Baileyville. And like a bright guy, I left after his junior year. Probably one of the best teams we were going to have was that his senior year. So I make a wise decision to move then. Let's get out while we can. So I left, I went to Osborne, but anyway, yeah, we had some success while he was playing. Then he went to college. I had enough of Osborne, so I left there, which was another great move. 2 years later, they won the state championship. And I went to Solomon, and he graduated from college and came to Solomon and coached with me for, how long were we there? 3 years. 3 years at Solomon. Then he went to Axtell. I liked the move, I guess. I went back to Osborne, and it's funny that next year, that's who we played for state championship, was Osborne against Axtell. He's coaching on one sideline and I was on the other. And then after that year, he left Axtell and came to Osborne and coached for a year, and now he's at Stafford. And it did it, I'm sure he'll tell you that, but you can read on that, but had a very, very successful season. Somewhere I misled him though, I'm not sure where. For the fact, and he'll think this is funnier than you guys probably will, but you remember that year we were getting ready for playoffs and like our last 2 district games were canceled? For whatever reason, I don't remember why, but maybe it was, one of them was a district game, one of them wasn't. Got canceled, so we had 3 weeks of practice. And I said, boys, we're going to become air Tiernan. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to work on passing for 3 weeks, and we're going to go throw the ball, air it out a little bit. And we get that first round of playoffs. We're going in at halftime. Quarterback comes up to me and says, Coach, I thought we were going to throw the ball. And my stat guy happened to be right there. I said, how many times did you pass that first half? He looks at it and goes, twice? Well, what do you want? I mean, that's all. Somewhere Mitch has been misled because he does like to throw the ball. And I gave him a hard time about that, but he did tell me that you ran it more than you threw it. But whatever it did, it worked. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so first I'll just get started. I'll say I've never done one of these, so bear with me. I'm the opposite of Coach McLean. I'm just getting into football, I guess you could say. But anyway, so we'll talk Trojan offensive philosophy and pass game. So I'll talk about my approach and philosophy into offense and then get into the passing game itself. We'll look at Coach Tiernan's favorite things and pass concepts and how we read them and how we teach them. And so for those who don't know me, I'm Mitch Engelken. Like Coach said, I went to junior high and high school, Baileyville B&B High School, graduated spring of 2012. Had a lot of success. Was lucky enough to be a part of some really good teams, great coaches, great community. Got the chance to play JUCO at Highland Community College. So that's where I really got out of my comfort zone. Like Coach Tiernan was saying, he don't like to throw the ball much. So when I went to JUCO, didn't know much as far as pass concepts go, and I played slot receiver. So I had to learn it from the ground up, I guess you could say. And so I learned a lot there, and that's kind of stuck with me. So maybe that's where I drifted off onto the passing side a little bit. But from there, like Coach said also, I went to Solomon. I finished up, graduated at Highland, went to K-State. I wasn't even finished yet at K-State, and called Coach Tiernan and said basically I needed hours to get started, to get finished with my degree through K-State. Ended up coaching with him for 3 years at Solomon. Then went back home to Axtell, which that's not where I'm from, Baileyville, but so I coached under Coach Detweiler there for 2. Got a chance to be the junior high head coach, and then went under Coach Tiernan again for 1 more year at Osborne, before taking the job last year at Stafford. All right, so just a little review statistics-wise and some accomplishments from our team this year. We did pass the ball a decent amount, 201 times. Not as efficient as we'd like to be as far as completion percentage goes, but when we did complete it, we were very efficient, nearly 2,000 yards passing, over 200 yards per game, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Rushing stats, we carried it 344 times, over 2,000 yards, over 250 yards per game, 30 touchdowns, 3 fumbles. So offensive average of 456 yards a game, which came out to be 45 points a game, highest total offense in school history, alongside many other team accomplishments. I'll go through them, I guess, real fast. First undefeated regular season since 1950. First ever league football title, first ever district title, first postseason berth in over 4 years. So the kids this year had never even seen a playoff game outside of when they were in 7th grade. They watched in a road game that Stafford played in and lost. Hosted our second home playoff game ever, and probably my proudest stat here for our team. And not to say that no coach wants to be behind in a game, but we trailed in 5 out of our 8 wins. And so it was just great leadership by the seniors who had bought in and wanted that change. And we overcame deficits of 10 points or more in the second half of 4 of those games. All right, so little accomplishments there. Through this slide in here, just go ahead and feel free to ask questions as we go. I think it'll be easier rather than a bunch of questions at the end. I'll forget. So my mindset and approach to offense. So our goal overall every play is to take what the defense gives us. And how do we do that? First, create favorable matchups. So with different formations, different motion, different play concepts, and also different personnel moving guys around within the formations. Next, we want to find and attack open space. And I know a lot of spread coaches say that. They want to get the ball out in space, get it to my guy, let him make plays. And how we do that, we use pre- and post-snap reads, as well as hand signals. So we are no huddle, 95% probably nonverbal. Other than the only thing that we verbalize is our formation call. And I was talking to Coach Hoppus not long ago, a couple nights ago, and he said the same thing last year. We don't have a better way to do it yet. So everything is hand signals other than our formation. And then the last out of what we want to do to take what the defense gives us, last and least, is we want to develop a player balance. And what I mean by that is kind of like what Coach McLean was saying earlier. Use your tight end to carry the ball. If he's a good athlete, find a way to give him the ball. And so we want to spread the ball around, find as many guys who can contribute offensively as we can. All right, and so what? And then Coach Leach here, a little quote from him to kind of reiterate that fact. Coach Leach said, "A balanced offense is one where each skill position touches the ball and every position contributes to the offensive output. There's nothing balanced about running it 50% of the time and throwing it 50% of the time if you only utilize 2 or 3 offensive skill positions and only attack part of the field." And so a little example of our balance this year, we had 3 ball carriers over 440 yards rushing. Each had at least 4 touchdowns. Then we had 3 receivers at least. These are all 6 different kids. We had 3 receivers who were all at least over 24 catches. Each all had 4 touchdowns. Each all had over 300 yards receiving. And the great thing about this was these kids loved it. They wanted to, not to say, and I'm not trying to bash the previous coach at all. He's a great guy. I get along with him great. But these kids loved the change. They wanted to do more. Like a tight end, our tight end was our second leading receiver, and he had caught the ball like 5 times in his career up until his senior year. And then he had 25 for us this year. But anyways, again, that is our least of our worries, but it is something we'll watch after the game's obviously over. We'll look at the stats, and if Jimmy had 2 catches for 100 yards, well, we ought to probably give him the ball more. Give him 3, 4 catches. See what else you can do with it. All right, so that's what we mean by developing player balance. Moving on, so offensive philosophy and my approach to the passing game. So we are concept-based. Well, we're concept-based in the run game as well. But anyways, we are concept-based. So I use a combination of a West Coast and an R3 approach. For those of you guys that use the R4 system, Dubmatics, rhythm, read, rush, and release. We don't do the rush and release. I teach our kids rhythm, read, and run. And what that means is when we go through our progression, we have a rhythm throw first, then we have a read throws. If they're not open, take off run. Pretty simple. And I thought it fit a little bit easier with our quarterback this year, who, again, he was a 4-year starter this year, but he had only thrown the ball, I don't know how many times. I have to look at the stats, but he had like 800 yards passing in 3 years as a starter, and this year he had 1,800. And then back to the West Coast approach, deep to short. So we want to look at our deep throws first and work down. for multiple reasons. I mean, obviously, most coaches that, at least from what we came from and what I know, you're teaching to stay over top. Take away the deep threat. You know, if they throw it underneath, that's fine. So we look deep first. The other reason for that is arm strength. You know, we don't want to progress, and the last throw in our progression is the deep throw, because then he's 30 yards downfield. This year, our quarterback probably would have gotten away with it a few times because he did have good arm strength. But anyways, so that's our approach there. We are majority 2 to 3 man concepts, and traditional air raid and run and shoot concepts is what I use. The reason I like the concept-based system so much is because of the adaptability of it. So we'll move guys around, like I said, within our formations and motion and just different personnel in different positions, but we can still run the same play. I mean, we can still run the same play or concept out of every formation. All right, and then a little coaching point that I tell our kids every day. So unlike Coach Tiernan, we start with the first 25, 30 minutes. We'll do our individual passing game drills. So I'll take backs and receivers. We only had 16 players this year, so I had about 8 or 9 with me and 1 quarterback, and then the rest went to the O-line coaches. But I'll tell them every day, execute your route correctly, run it as hard as you can, and you're going to be open. And whether that's true or not, oh well, we believe it, and they believe it, they execute it right. And then we got lines going, so they'll execute their route, sprint, and then hustle back, and then they'll wait in line and go again. We'll go over and over. Again, Coach Leach kind of reiterating that statement there. Coach Leach said, throw the ball where they're not. The execution of this requires lots of practice time. However, the space itself is always there, and it's impossible for the defense to always have it covered. All right. Moving on, I put some extra notes in here, but I'll get to that in a second. So positions and formations. So our positions are pretty similar to probably most coaches, not much different than most coaches do. Again, very similar to what Canton Galva does with the adjuster is what we did, except for we have a little more. I was talking to Coach Shelby the other night. We have a couple more spots within our adjuster, but so we use a lot of word and letter association to just create simple and easy play calls, just to make it easier for them to understand. All right, so we have our Y, we have our X, we have our F. Our fullback is what we call the F. It's not a traditional fullback, but he's got a full workload. That's what I say. So he could be a wide receiver, he could be a slot, a wing, tracer, sniffer back, a true fullback offset on both sides of the ball, 10 spots. So when we call Sally, let me go back to my notes. When we call Sally, again, letter and word association, so Sally means a lot of things. It means first S, split. So it means split Y left because L in Sally. So there's the letter association for left. So the Y is to the call side. So Sally means split Y left. X is automatically opposite of the Y. So split Y left, X right. F is in the 3 position with the 3 there. So there's Sally 3. And again, we can run Sally 10 different ways, 0 through 9. So we can move guys around wherever we want. We also have tags to pull the X off, put the F on, pull the Y off, put the F on, stuff like that as well. And then they're here down at the bottom. We were predominantly a single back spread pistol. If somebody wanted to identify what actually offensively we do, we were in the true pistol 2 to 3 yards behind our quarterback probably 99% of the time. And no reason other than I liked it. That's what we used when I was in college, and I liked it there too. So, all right, moving on. Pass protection. So again, word and letter associations. So in this case, if we call maroon for our O-line, to simplify it, it means max right. So MAR, max right. But it tells our guys a lot of things. First off, it tells quarterback play action right. And he's going to progress right to left within the concept because there's an R in maroon. All right. So he's going to take the traditional Chris Salt snatch technique, even on our play action, open up right, and he's going to progress right to left. Depending on what the concept is, he knows based off of what call we made, what signal we called in. Tells our O-line, max, slide, protect, right. In this case, and also doubles are watching for blitzers. So in this case, a 3-man front, our left guard and our center. Our center, he's not supposed to slide to nobody, even though on film I'm sure they did sometimes this year. But they're supposed to double, and now if a secondary defender or linebacker does blitz or bites on the play action and comes into the backfield, we have a you-me call. We can release and pick them up. All right, and then the last thing here, it tells the running back, play action right, and he's going to protect and seal off the backside. I originally wanted to go maroon is play action right, and the back would block here. O-line would slide opposite. And then I remembered O-linemen aren't the smartest, so we flipped it because I'd rather have one guy be responsible for backside than 3 guys be responsible for flipping it left to right based off of our call. And so that's what we did. All right, so pass concepts, we have a lot, way more than Coach Tiernan. We have about 6 to 10 drop back and 6 to 10 quick game with variations of each. So we have a lot. But our kids never once told me, hey coach, we got too much, because we repped it every day, every single day. All right, so we'll look at the highlighted ones. We'll look at our deep choice concept, which is go, or what we call go. We'll look at our mesh post, which we call mesh post. We have 4 variations of mesh: rail, whip, and corner. But anyways, and then quick game, we'll look at curl flat, stick variation, and then all slants. So we'll start with drop back concepts, looking at go. So go, again, this is my own 8-man interpretation of the run and shoot go concept, true choice concepts. So we've got our streak reads on the outside and a seam read on the inside. And we'll read here, let me go to my notes again. So our quarterback is pre-snap read and BDL, that's what we teach. Box, depth, leverage. So first he's looking at the box count. In this case, if we called maroon, we have a 3-man line and a back staying in, so we have a 4-man protection against a 5-man box, so we know we're outnumbered. So he's reading box first. He's going to ID the linebackers. Do we think somebody's blitzing? Of course, in our scouting report and watching on film from either the week before or the year before, we'll know if this coach is very aggressive or not, if they're going to bring blitz. All right, but that's how we're reading here. Next, after he IDs the box, again, we have all the extra time because we don't huddle. So we call the signals, we signal the play, we look at the defense while they get aligned to us, and then we go. But here, so next, after box, he's looking at depth of DBs, and our receivers are reading depth as well. All right, so what I mean by depth here is, in this case, or this particular example is not very good, but if this corner is 5, 6, 7+ yards off on our streak read, he has 2 options, a go or a hitch. So if he's playing 6 yards off, pre-snap, we're thinking, okay, he's taking away the go. So be ready for the hitch. We have the option. Pre-snap doesn't mean that's what we're doing, but post-snap we'll read the hips. All right, here on the seam read, same thing. Pre-snap, safety's in the middle of the field, taking away middle of the field, probably not going to run the post. That's our guess, pre-snap. Post-snap, though, again, we're reading hips, and I'll show you that on film here in a second. My last note here, vertical deep choice. So yes, we do. We want to go down the field. We're trying to attack vertical, back the defense off, or create an explosive play down the field. But like I said, we go back to take what the defense gives us. If they take away the vertical threat, we'll throw it underneath and take what's underneath. All right, I'll show you some film here. Okay, so this is the first game of the year, so take it with a grain of salt. There was some fixable points for sure. So pre-snap here, we're in a twin set. Twins out there, tight end is actually locking on the backside. Our back does run out here too as well. But pre-snap, it looks like cover 3 or off-man coverage, but we're at the 21-yard line, so we're guessing probably man. Let me run it through. There's our seam read and our go hitch on the outside with our streak read. I'll run it back. You can see the quarterback, and I'll talk about that too here in a minute. He takes a 5-step drop, so he gets way too deep on this and actually hits him in the back of the end zone. We almost ran out of time and space. But correct read all around. Our slot did it exactly how he's supposed to. He pressed vertical on the outside of this safety. The safety stays flat-footed, never opens his hips, so we take the middle of the field wide open. And on the outside, he's staying way off, so we end up running a hitch on the outside because he's staying over top. All right, end zone cam's a little better. So again, they're all head-up leverage, so we expected man-to-man on all 3 of our receivers. And again, they're in the red zone, so it's probably more man-to-man. So our slot here, again, is pushing vertical. We want to get him to open his hips and stay over top, take away the seam. If he takes away the seam, we're taking the post. Pre-snap, you see the middle of the field's wide open anyways because of the alignment of this safety. All right, there you go. DB's hips are still open. We take the middle. Again, also, he hasn't even turned. He's still backpedaling. So, oops. So we take the middle, and that's the right read, right play. Again, though, our footwork is off, and we hit him late, a little too late. Yeah, there you go. Fixable points. Quarterback a little deep on his drop, and we worked on it. We made some changes to fix the footwork. I didn't play quarterback in college or ever, so I've learned a lot from my buddy who did play quarterback with me at college. Stole some ideas from him. All right, so next clip. This is week 2. We see 2 high safeties pre-snap. So we expect cover 2. We make a call to read the twin side first because, again, we want to go down the field. If they're splitting the back half of the field in half with two safeties, we know we got a 2-on-1 situation up here. All right? So we're going left to right here. Open left, play action. You can see right away the play action gets the safety to bite. And the seam's wide open. So again, this was our slide protection. So that's I think that's what's throwing some of these DBs and linebackers off. Is we kind of slide right. In this case, we were supposed to slide left, but if you notice, there's no D end here. He was pressing on top of our slot to try to slow him down. And yeah, so he bites on the play action in the backfield. Our slot's wide open. Again, timing was a little underthrown. He was still too deep on his drop. Show you the end zone cam. Yeah, so it becomes a double team. Or yeah, our left guard fires into the nose. And maybe that's what he saw, and then we play action this way. It looks just like our inside zone run scheme is what it looks like, which we run a lot of. And so that might have been what got him to bite. And this receiver right here, he's going to McPherson next year. He was a 3-year backup quarterback. This is his first year ever playing varsity offense. 1,000-yard receiver for us. So he made a lot of plays this year. Great kid. Just he had never gotten the chance to play receiver in the previous offense because they didn't really throw the ball. But all right, next clip. Okay, so again, to fix the footwork of our quarterback, like I said, I didn't know much about coaching a quarterback, but what we did was I found out that he was getting so confused. I was saying 1-step, 3-step, 5-step drop, or whatever I was saying. And he was more worried about, okay, did I get my 3-step? Did I get my 5-step? He was more worried about getting to the right number of steps than he was post-snap the reads. And so it was slowing him down. So what I did was I went to some online coaching seminar, a quarterback's coach in college. He said one thing we worked on was catch, balance, throw, or CBT. And so all it is, self-explanatory, catch the ball, get your balance as quickly as you can, as few steps as you can, and throw it. Get the ball out. So we did that, and it was a night and day difference, and you'll see it here on film for our quarterback. So he quit worrying about how deep I wanted him and how many steps I told him, and he got the ball out. All right, so pre-snap here on this play, though. This is Kinsley, last game of the year. They're a 6-man box because we were running the ball fairly well. And so they loaded the box, so we know we got one-on-one matchups on the outside. So we're going to take what they give us. My other note here, again, okay, yeah. So the sideline cam, you can't even see the DB over there. So pre-snap, that's a pretty good indicator that it's probably going to be a hitch on our streak read if he's playing that far off. So quarterback catch, balance, throw, gets it out on time, an easy hitch. No way the DB was going to get on.
They just have to be on the same page. There's not like a hand signal or anything.
Exactly. So here, and this is go. This is called go. So both of these guys are running the streak reads. That's it. We have a 2-man concept. Tight end stand in to block. DB's hips are already turned, so that's our quarterback's read. So we're going, this is metallic or max left, play action left, but they don't all slide left because we have an extra blocker on the right, so they kind of just manned up with the first threat. Now here, quarterback's reading hips, so is the receiver. He turned, so we're going to sit it down. That's it. I'd love to add a third and say, hey, run the post, but it takes a little time, so this is what we got for this year. But again, watch the quarterback's footwork. Catch, balance, throw. The timing was perfect, so much better. All right, and then the good thing about this, when we have 2 options, a couple plays later, they still have 6 in the box, but now look, the DB's moved up. They're within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, so we know now, pre-snap, it looks like, okay, we got a good chance on our streaks because we know where we're going, they don't know where we're going. So quarterback, now we're going maroon again. Catch, balance, throw. Burns him for a touchdown. They're going to be really good next year. They didn't lose a single guy. So one more time here. Watch our footwork. Catch, balance, throw. Without even knowing it, perfect 3-step drop and throw on the rhythm. And where nobody else could get it. And how we teach that, I'll show you on the end zone cam. How we teach our streak reads or our go is, again, we're reading hips, but also it's the old school, if he's even, he's leaving. So if we can physically reach out and touch this defender, then we're going. We're going. And the quarterback knows that. And again, here's maroon go. So he's reading right to left. So he didn't even get to his second read because we didn't need to. He threw his first. Kind of like Hendon Hooker got drafted to the Lions. Everybody, all the scouts are saying, Can he read a defense? Well, he was always throwing to his open first read, because Tennessee, that's what they do, is all them choice routes. So, but here, one more look at it. Catch, balance, throw. Should have been a pass interference on the other side, but didn't matter. Okay. All right, next one we'll look at our mesh post concept. So again, like I said, we run like 4 variations of mesh, but we'll just look at mesh post today. So for mesh post, our number 1's running a post, and then we have a double shallow settle option versus zone by our number 2 and our 3. So how I teach it, we go 3 to 4 yards, aiming for the heels of the linebackers and across the field. Excuse me. So our F here would be, he's the number 2 in the play, so he's going to set the mesh. He's also off the line, so he's going to run the shallower mesh. The Y is going to clear the mesh at 3 to 4 yards also, but again, it's going to be evened out. We run a mesh drill every day, first thing, and they'll run through and they hit hands. The old school Mike Leach true mesh drill, where they hit hands as they go through the mesh. All right, and then we can also tag our back to run a shoot route. And what I mean by shallow settle versus zone is, again, we're going to take what the defense gives us. If they're running a true cover 3, 3-2 zone, and these backers are flat defenders, if he drops to the flat to take away the back, our tight end is not going to run into the flat. He's going to hitch it up, first open window past the center. All right, but we did not see a lot of zone this year. We saw a lot of man, 95% plus, I would say. So we didn't settle much, but it is something we practice still. So again, to be able to take what the defense gives us on every pass play. And then there we go, mesh concept. We still attack vertically, yes. So we still have a vertical attack, but we want to get the playmakers open, so this is how we can do it. And we still take what the defense gives us, having the option to sit down versus zone. And then here is just the progression. So again, this would be maroon, 1, 2, 3, or we have a check down, automatic check down to the back if we tag him to go out.
Coach, I got a question.
Yep.
Would you rather attack a zone defense or a man defense?
Me, man, definitely, because again, it goes back to we know where we're going, we trust our guys, they know what they're doing, the defense doesn't, and that's the idea of we run a lot of different pass concepts. So by mixing it up enough, it's hard to hopefully get a tendency. Only one of our district opponents is in here, so that's a good thing. But anyways, yeah. So I would rather go against man, yeah. But again, we'll take the underneath stuff against zone anyway, so we'll take what the defense is giving us every time. Good question. All right, so here's mesh post. Again, this is the first game of the year, so take it with a grain of salt. No back tagged out on a shoot here. I'll let it run through again. So our quarterback, again, this is before we made the change. He takes a 5-step on a 3-step drop, what was supposed to be a 3-step. So we hit him barely in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. So here, and our mesh could have been a little tighter right there. I'll show you here from the end zone cam, it's a little better. Okay, so again, we have head up, leverage, so we expect man, plus again, we're in the red zone, so it's probably man. So the first read for our quarterback is the safety, because if we expect that it could be zone and he drops the middle, deep middle, then that's going to take away the post, so he knows he's going to go for one of the underneath throws. In this case, he sees the safety right away, follows our slot across the field, so we know there's no safety in the middle of the field open on the post, so he doesn't get to his second read, he gets the post. He never gets down to, his second read would have been that tight end out here, but he never got to it. One more time, I'll show you. Oops. So there you go, there's one look at mesh post. Here, hold on, let me go back to my first note. Okay, so this goes back to our formations and our adjuster positions. So now our F is in the 1 position, which is the far outside wide receiver, and we have our X inside of him. So it's almost a stack, not necessarily a stack. We do stack, but here we didn't. So now, right now, if we called this play, if we said down, set, hard, if we clapped and snapped the ball here, number 1 is running a post. Number 2 is going to set the mesh. Y on the backside is clearing it. And this time we have our back running a shoot. But now we motion a guy. So we motion a guy, and this is what I mean by all our guys know where they're at, and they know what to run based off of where they're at. So now he becomes the number 2 receiver. He's setting the mesh. He's clearing it. He's running the post. Back still shooting on a check down. All right, and again, we knew this team was fairly aggressive. All of their guys are aggressive. But anyways, this guy blitzed, so our quarterback sees it immediately with the 3-man protection to dump it down on the check down. And I told our quarterback that all year. One thing I do know about passing is the running back is the most unguarded player on the field. And so I told him that all year long, and there was so many times we ran this play, and he was wide open, and we didn't throw it to him. He threw it to somebody else. But again, it was his first year. So after the motion, again, he's going to set it, he's clearing it, he's running the post. He's supposed to read rhythm throw post first and then come down to the clear. But with this linebacker right in his face, he knows to dump it. He knows to dump it to the check down right away. And we ran this play like 5 times in this game. Only once did he throw it to the back. So, but. Okay, some quick game concepts. How am I doing for time here? Doing all right? Okay, so quick game, curl flat, which is a stick variation. So first, curl by number 1, and he can run a true curl, or we can run an in-breaking slant or a snag like this with a flat route or outside release, speed out, shoot route flat by our number 2, and then we'll tag anything on the backside for our number 3. So it's just a 2-man concept, but we can put a third with what we see over here on the backside. So again, yep, stick variation, picking on the flat defender against zone or creating a rub action against man. Usually more of a zone quick game play for us. Yeah, so again, if it's a 3-2 cover 3 and we know this backer is the flat defender, we'll push our F deep, pull off the corner, and now this linebacker, and then he's going to hitch it up there. Now this linebacker's got to decide, am I covering the hitch or am I going to get all the way out there to the flat? And then also if it's man, if it's truly man, this safety's going to come down the Y. There's no way he's getting there in time. So this was a pretty good one for us. Again, okay, and then I put tight end outside release, fastest release. We do this for multiple reasons also. So most, as you guys know, most DNs are taught you're getting hooked. If they outside release, you fight outside, don't get hooked, right? And so by doing that, we slow them down, we give our guard time. We also know we're not going right into the path of our potential defender. We're going outside as fast as we can, fastest release to the sideline. And there's no way he's getting there into his zone quick enough. One more time and I'll show you the end zone. And in South Barber, this is South Barber, they mixed up coverages a lot. So here they're running zone on this side and they're manned up on our number 1 receiver, who was our 1,000-yard receiver over here. So they mixed it up a lot, but we knew, if again, going back to trying to create that player balance, if they're going to take away our number 1 guy, he had 2 catches for like 30 yards and a touchdown in this game. These guys had way better games. But we knew if they're going to do that, we'll do some 2-man action with these guys. Again, we want to find multiple guys to contribute offensively. All right, so against zone, if linebacker takes away curl, we throw the flat. If linebacker sprints to the flat, we throw the curl. All right, so we're reading curl to flat, and then obviously if the flat's taken away, we'll even work back inside the curl, but then take off running if nothing's open. And I don't know, maybe this play side linebacker here hesitated with the play action and our quarterback opening to the right side here. That's potentially, it could have been the case, I don't know. But so there we go, and a nice play by our big tight end, which unfortunately we're gonna miss him next year. We'll miss a lot of these guys, but okay, so same play now out of a different formation. Again, going back to we can run every concept out of every formation. In this case, our tight end is now split. And we have our F, who was a wide receiver, now he's a wing. All right, curl, and then in this case, we're expecting man. Again, these guys are head-up leverage on all of our guys. So we expect it to be man, and Kinsley, we know, scouting them, they run a lot of man. And so in this case, he is going to try to post up this linebacker as well, try to create that rub action on our curl flat. And he does. He kind of got him, but number 8 for Kinsley got over top enough that we were able to work back inside. We went curl to flat, back to curl. And then tight end makes a play, gets a couple extra yardage, a couple yards. Here you can see it a little better. So another thing about this is we run so many concepts as well, like I said earlier, that our tight end has ran crossers. He's ran mesh crossers. He's ran a true Y cross. He'll even run down the field or run hitches as well. And so this number 2, even though he's manned on, he's got to honor him by selling this slant pattern. That creates that separation also, allowing us to go curl to flat, back to curl, and still make a play and get some good yardage. Okay, last quick game concept, and then I'll show you guys some practice clips if I still have time. So this is not one we ran as much towards the second half of the season, but here I'll just read my note. Usually more of a man, quick game play for us, but it can work against both man and zone. We did use it against both man and zone, and it's all it is all slants. If we suspect man coverage, or they're taking away the flats, or we see that short middle area of the field open, that's when we might call a slant. I mean, if they're giving us this middle area on a quick throw, why not? Downset hut, it's catch and throw, catch balance throw. Again, taking what the defense gives us. So we teach it a 2 to 3 step slant by our number 1 and our number 2, and a 5 step by our number 3, just to create that space. We don't want them running into each other, which actually did happen a couple times this year. But okay, so here again, this is Skyline, second game of the year. They pulled their D end out to press our slot. They knew we had like 280 yards passing in the first game of the year, so they wanted to slow down our passing game. But it was second game, non-district team, so we were still going to throw the ball, work on our passing game. And they have one linebacker, so you're probably saying, why not run it? But again, we wanted to work on the pass a little bit more, especially since it was so new to these kids. And so our quarterback, again, it wasn't catch, balance, throw. He took too deep of a drop step on our quick game pass. It should have been catch, balance, throw, 1 step, and throw. But we still get good yardage out of it. Still a good execution, good throw, good catch. Again, this tight end, though, didn't run a 5-step slant. He ran a 3-step. Show you the end zone cam view. Anybody that runs slants out there, I'd love to hear more, because again, I don't know if I'm teaching it right, but we work outside in, especially against press here, which we have a press here. This guy's outside leverage, not really pressing, but we work outside and then we come back in to that wide open area in the middle. Again, there was that spacing. It wasn't the best, but we'll take it. We get 18, 20 yards or something. Okay, another slant clip here. And this is Central Christian early in the game, or early in the season. Our quarterback got hurt. He pulled his hip flexor in this game, so we kind of quit running the ball. So anyways, our slants, if we don't catch it on the first 2 to 3 steps, it turns into a shallow crosser. They just keep going across the field. So the ball is supposed to be out quick on our slants, but if it's not, we go through our read throws and then run. Quarterback's supposed to take off running. He does here, but he keeps his eyes downfield because our slants turn into crossers. And then he makes a nice play just by keeping his eyes up, because he was supposed to take off running. But show you the end zone cam view also. So you can see he's not very fast here. He actually ran for 600 yards rushing this year, our quarterback did, but not in this game. All right, so again, not the best play call versus the coverage we're seeing, but I was just putting this on here to show you that our slants, we continue them into crossers, and we keep going, and our quarterback can take off running, but if he does a good job like here, he keeps his eyes up and can still find an open guy if the slant breaks down. Okay, I think this is the last one of the slants. So again, Skyline, we attacked them early on, you saw the go. We were throwing some vertical concepts on them early in the game, and they were running that 2-man with their D-ends out here. Now they switched it. They got 5 in the box, manned up on the outside, and look at how much space we have here. So we changed the play from the sideline to a slant. If I could redo it, I'd go run our curl flat over here and then just tag an individual slant, but we called all slants. Oh well, still works nonetheless. He's, wide open, makes a play, and 1st and goal at the 2. One more time, end zone. So you can see how much space is in here, or anywhere for that matter. And again, the quarterback, even on this, was a little late getting the ball out and kind of throws it behind him a little bit. Slows him down, but again, 1st and goal within the 3-yard line. All right, some practice clips quick. So this is how we kind of practice catch, balance, throw. So unlike Coach Tiernan, I'm more tech-oriented from the the younger side of things. So I will pull out my phone and start recording stuff at practice all the time, and then just upload it to Huddle. Plus, these kids are visual learners. They love seeing it. They love the feedback after practice. Like, hey, how can I get better at this drill in practice? But anyways, here we're just going catch, balance, throw. So quarterback opens left, and he's getting his balance quickly as he can and throwing the ball, getting it out. So that catch, balance, throw is all we're doing here. Kind of a half-assed play action, but catch, balance, throw. And then I got several clips of this. And this is our pre-practice. The first stuff we do at practice is that individual offensive drills, passing game stuff, and our O-line's all down here doing other stuff down there. And we work definitely more open in the left, just because he's a right-handed quarterback. We don't have any lefties. And then again, catch, balance, throw. Now our quick game to the right, throwing the hitches, our spacing variation. And that's where the timing is supposed to be. As soon as he gets to that fifth step, hitch it up, back to the ball versus man. But again, if the ball's on time, we don't have to work back to the ball. Yeah, and then I put a note here. So next year we'll add a second passer. Here we only had 8 kids, and we only had 16 total. And at one point we had 12 at practice. So Division II schools, you guys know what that's like. But next year we're actually expecting 23 players. So I'm the AD, and I just ordered brand new uniforms for anybody that played Stafford. You saw our home jerseys. We had black numerals on a black jersey, which is illegal. But I loved it for scouting purposes. You couldn't see who was on anyways. But we had to get new ones, and I ordered 22, and then we had our football meeting, and now we're going to have 23, 24. So I had to actually go back and order more brand new uniforms, which is a good problem to have, though. But okay, and then last thing, so just some final thoughts from me. And again, I'm a very young coach, so I obviously still have a lot left to learn. But I love sharing. I love talking football. And anyway, so don't be afraid to be different. So like I learned, and like Coach Tiernan was saying, I'm very different from what I did in high school and what Coach Tiernan does. And I learned that in college. So college was the flip the switch, I guess, is what, because I got into a spread offense for the first time in the 11-man game and learned all these 11-man pass concepts. And I was like, we can do that in 8-man, you know? And so, but anyways, and I read Doug Peterson's book, Fearless, in like 2019. And one of the quotes that stood out from him, he said, I'm the type of person who thinks for himself. I don't follow the crowd. As a play caller, I try to do things differently from other coaches, stay aggressive. Why be normal? All right. And then another thing, just always keep learning. Like I said, I had little to no pass game knowledge, at least none from Coach Tiernan prior to JUCO. So, but obviously, like I said, still have a lot left to learn. Next thing, don't be afraid to have fun. So I remember, I was talking to Coach Hoppus the other night about this too. He said when he wanted to make a change at Canton Galva, they were, not doing well, and kind of the tradition of Stafford. This year was our first undefeated regular season since shortly after World War II. So I wanted to make a change as well. But we made it fun. And what we did was all new stuff, and the kids bought into it. It sparked excitement, competitive practices every day, led to high efforts and overall player commitment, and the important thing, success on and off the field. And it also went right into basketball. Our boys basketball team, which was the majority of the same kids, made it to state basketball for the first time since 1939. And then lastly, football is the greatest game ever played, and I'll argue that with anybody if you disagree, but I can definitely say it was some of the most memorable and fun times of my entire high school experience. And so one of my goals is for my players to hopefully be able to say that same thing. And so remember, that's why we're in it. We're in it for the kids. So try to make it fun, be different, always keep learning, and spread it to your kids. And then that's it, you guys. So thanks a lot for having me. Coach Slater's not here, but thanks for asking me to do it. I was more than happy to do it. I hesitated for a while just because I'm not a public speaker. So, but yeah, thank you guys very much. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. And there's my contact information if you guys ever want to get a hold of me. If you don't have a question today, you can shoot me a text, give me a call, email me at the school. I'm the AD, so I check my email nonstop. It's been a nightmare this year. We were supposed to get a brand new track, and it's not done. It started in the fall. It's not done. So we had our high school meet. I had to host at another school last night. Anyway, it's been a nightmare, but give me a call. You can get me on Twitter, Coach Engelken, or on YouTube. A couple years ago when I got bored in the springtime at Osborne, not much to do there. But once I got bored, I was like, why not just get on YouTube, try to create some sort of content for 8-man coaches to share and connect, and that's the goal. And I've been doing some coaching interviews, so I have 8-man guys come on and share their story and stuff like that, and it's been awesome because I get to meet so many new guys. Like next week I got a guy from Oklahoma, and then in 2 weeks I'm interviewing an 8-man coach in Pennsylvania who found my YouTube and wants to talk ball. So it's just cool how great the 8-man football community is. So but anyways, yeah, connect with me on there. If you have a question, let me know. If you guys want this presentation, more than willing to share it to you. Except South Central. No, just kidding. No, they're in our district, but nope, anybody, I'll help anybody. So any questions? All right, well, thank you guys. Thank you guys very much.
If you have any questions for me, feel free to comment below or reach out to me on Twitter at 8Man Breakdowns. If you enjoyed the content or you took away anything from it, please click subscribe and check out some of my other videos right here. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in.